Ladies love the skin.
Ow.
Bring it a little bit closer. The good skin, that is. That's why having a proper skincare routine is very important, and you need to feel the teach. The process is so easy, just 4 steps. You got your daily face wash. That's going to clean your face up nice and right. You got your exfoliator scrub. That's going to open up your pores. You got your AM moisturizer with the SPM 20, which is going to protect you from the sun. You also got your PM moisturizer, which is going to make sure your skin is protected throughout the night. Tej has tons of reviews from dedicated customers across the world. I know I said a lot, but it's okay, because guess what? It comes with an instruction card to explain to you in detail what to do morning and night. And because Tej is a sponsor, they're offering my family 30% off along with a free gift. Just click that link that's in the description and feel the Tej.
Let me share the screen real quick, all right? This is what we're talking about today. The topic of the show today, ladies and gentlemen, is single women in the U.S. own more homes than single men, according to a new study. Now, let me make something very clear as we talk on this topic and we open this up to discussion amongst the masses, all right? I wanted to discuss this topic in detail because I have one criticism, not really of just modern men or modern women, but I have one detailed criticism of modern women. Y'all make it very hard for us to celebrate you. When somebody just said it in the chat, when things come up like this, okay, when we have headlines that say single women in the U.S. own more homes than single men, I know y'all think that men sit around all day hating on y'all. We do not. Most men, I guarantee you, most men don't really look at women. We're incapable of looking at you as competition. Put a 1 in the chat if you believe that as a man. When I see something go across the screen about a woman, when I see a marquee stat of a woman doing well, competition doesn't even cross my mind. Jealousy doesn't cross my mind. I have never in my life saw it to be in a competition against a woman. I know you've made up the boogeyman. Y'all have made us up to be the boogeyman, like we are going around throwing fits that y'all are succeeding. We are not. I promise you, on everything I love, on my children, I saw this stat and I said, good for them. And I kept scrolling. And then I went from Michael. It was Michael who was scrolling. Then I went to Trigger Mike. And I scrolled back and I tapped. I tapped on it just to read the comments. And that's what we're going to do right now. You can't really see them, but I'm going to read them, damn it. I'm going to read the ones that we see here, okay? So our good old friend B. Taylor says, because men need women to help them get one. If there are any ladies in the chat that agree with that, please let us know. She likes to be toxic from time to time, but we're not mad at her. Our good old colleague, B. Taylor. I don't know if she's playing around or what. Now, another woman says, because single men live with females. Okay. Somebody shares my sentiment a little bit, says it's not a competition. That's our problem now. A man is not my competitor, especially the black man. Shout out to that black lady. Her name is Shy Said So. SHY Said So. Y'all go follow her real quick and just send her some love, man. That's the type of woman I like to see, man. That's the type of woman I like to see. But I kept on reading these replies from women, and I was just like, oh, God. And it wasn't even just the replies from the women. The dudes were making the dumbest justifications I had ever seen. The dumbest justifications I had ever seen on this topic came up. I was very worried. This is very, very easy to understand. Okay. And if you make it a competition and put yourself up on a pedestal, then we have to start getting realistic about this. As I said in the beginning, women, y'all are making it very hard for men to celebrate your triumphs and successes. If a headline states single women in the U.S. own more homes than single men, good job. All that should be coming out of our mouths as men. Good job. That's what's up. Women making progress out here. I see you. Keep doing your thing. That's all that men really have the ability to do. That's all I really got the ability to do. But then I go into these comments and then I see that you made it a competition. This is the largest criticism I have of misandrists and modern feminists. These new wave feminists, you cannot make yourself look strong and capable without trying to make men look weak and inept. Why can you not accomplish one without the other? Any stat, any piece of information that makes women look great, as if women are making progress, let it stand on its own. Anytime you have to mention a man and what you think he isn't doing to try to give light to what you are or you think you're doing, you cheapen that progress. And that's what happened in this particular instance. All of these comments were absurd, bro. They were absurd. Let me read these super chats real quick. My man Dale Matthew with the $10 says, kudos to you, man. Good to see you back. Appreciate that. If you love the Trigger Mike show and you want to get into this topic, please welcome me back by dropping a super chat. What I want everybody to do now, because they did not send a notification out for my show, if you're watching this from your cell phone or from the computer, I want you to hit that share button real quick and just send this to 5 people. I'm going to do it right now on my phone, all right? Galaxy Gang, S24, what y'all know about it? Can't do y'all iPhones, bro. But what I want y'all to do real quick, if you're on your phone, just hit that share button and share this out to 5 people so they can get in on this great topic. I'm going to drop the link in the chat for my people who want to come up and discuss this very topic. Can't even find my own show. Y'all just give me a second. Hit that share button. Get some of our favorite terrorists up here to there we go. Share this to my news feed. What do you think? Get the Facebook click. Popping. Go ahead and share this out. I want to see this chat buzzing. Get those likes up. If you're just coming in, hit that like button. Helps out the channel and lets YouTube know people are watching so they can recommend the show. All right. I want to share this in a group. Live now. Let's go. Share this out. Let's get over 70 people watching. All right. And then we're gonna get into this, man. We're gonna get into this. Let's see. Because I just want to celebrate. Richard says a lot of men let their women put their name on it for whatever reason. A lot of men feel like the women will get better outcomes when it comes to this like this. So the man could be the still. Oh, you know what? Do you know what, Risharda? I'm not going to say that's all. I can't say that's all of the scenarios, all of the situations. That may very well be a lot of the cases. One thing I will say, and that I know some people did personally, the dude had a felony back in the day. And I don't know if y'all know about Texas. I live in what's called a master plan community. This community is so well curated. They curate these communities like they curate museums. You have to submit a background check to buy a house here. So there is a dude that I know that's into trucking. Another dude that I know that owns his own landscaping company. If you see these dudes now, you naturally would know they're very well put together men, well spoken. They just have a felony when they were 18. One stole a car. I know it was carjacking. And another one like aggravated assault. He got in a fight, beat the dude up real bad, that type of thing. So they both have felonies on their records that have not been expunged. So their wives own the house. And at first, I think it had come up like, damn, bro, you good with that? They're like, this is one of those states where community property. If y'all are married and your wife's name on the house, that's your property too. So it makes sense. This is some good logic. I like to see the ladies using logic. This is one of those things. Richardo also says it was the way the post was put up that there were so many negative comments. I agree with that too. OTKP says a bunch of bitter 200-pound. Well, come on, man. We're not gonna do that tonight. Let's get some better insight here. All right. DJ Game by the Pound says this is true. I moved into a new development townhome community with about 14 new homes, and I was the only single male to move in, but all the ladies in the neighborhood are nice and friendly. So this part I actually understand. I see you in the back, Ekin. I'm gonna bring you up in a second. This part I do understand. Now let me bring this up really quick. Anytime you have homes being built that are affordable for single people, anytime, it's going to be a majority of women buying those homes. It's going to be, let me say this, it's going to be a majority of women living in those homes. The point here, we can break this down into several different subsets of single women that buy homes. But the last time I checked, because I did a show or I was either on a panel, I had to run the numbers for this. Only 14% of single women own homes. The average woman today, or the average man cannot afford to buy a home by themselves without some kind of public assistance. Those public assistance programs are predominantly for women. My wife told both of her sisters to go to some new development they're building in 3rd Ward, Houston. They're gentrifying the hell out of it. Any of y'all that live here or that visit here, if you're if you're partying anywhere in like East downtown and it's going into like TSU area and it looks nice, that was all once the hood. Like hood. Universities are always by the hood. So if you see a university and then you go down the street and the area is nice, that just got gentrified. She told them to go sign up for something that they had because they got a fix in the game. The lady is approving all Black woman applications. She got down payment assistance for them. She has some other kind of assistance where you don't have to pay the mortgage for 6 months. And then her little brother asked about it. And then they were like, I don't think you can get it, dog. Because he's a dude, he's a man. Right? They preserve all of these type of programs for women. We're not tripping. That's the way it's always been. We're not tripping. But let me tell you something outright. Any man that wants smoke or got a rebuttal for me, you can place your rebuttal in the chat. If you have smoke or you got a rebuttal for me, place your rebuttal in the chat. A single man will not buy a home without a family to put in it. Most single men, the majority of men will not buy a home without a family to put in it. If you agree with what I said, put a 1 in the chat. And if you disagree, put a 2, hit the link and come up and tell me why. I own a home. We just left an open house yesterday for a bigger home that we're trying to buy. That's further. We already live in the sticks. We went 15 more minutes into the woods. I would not be out here on the tip of the edge of the western edge of Houston, this far out on the highway. Okay? I would not be this far out if I wasn't looking for a better school district for my children, if I wasn't looking for less road traffic to maneuver and go around into the activities, if I wasn't looking for low crime, if I wasn't looking for high average GPA in the school, easy access to tutoring, okay, I wouldn't be out here. If I was single today, my black ass would be in the same spot I was before I got married, in the high rise in the Galleria, hitting some big booty ass chick from the back looking out the window. That's exactly what the fuck I'd be doing. Most men will not buy a house without a family to put in it. The hell do I want all this upkeep for? What the hell am I doing all this for? I just had to pay. Let me tell you how crazy it is. Egan, are you ready? Come up when you're ready. I'll let you up. Let me tell you how crazy it is for homeowners real quick. I paid $325, $300 plus tax last Saturday because a bird was stuck in my vent hood. Random ass expense. The average America doesn't have $400 for a medical emergency. But just because I heard, my wife was like, is that mice? I was like, not mice in this house. She said, is it in the microwave? I said, it's in the vent hood. I can hear it. $325, and the dude took less than 30 minutes to do the damn job. Those are random ass house expenses. Y'all don't want these problems. Most of these people don't even know what they're getting into. But that's another story. I'm going to save that. So let's get into it right now. The part that I'm trying to tell y'all is that most people will not buy a house. Most men will not buy a house without a family to put in it. Part number 2 that I want to explain to y'all right now. Men do not buy homes. This is why men won't buy homes. If the average American female that went to school has more consumer debt, more student loan debt, and less income than her male counterpart, then men are better positioned to buy homes than women are. So the way that stat was set up, that is anti-intellectual. This was a stat to give an applause to the progress that women who can buy homes are making. If this stat was written as an effort to put men down for what men aren't doing, it failed on spot. Right on the spot. It failed on sight. Because I can break this down easily with logic. The average man makes more money than a woman does. The average man has less debt than the average woman does. Those are the 2 greatest factors for home ownership. Have I told a lie yet? Have I told one lie yet? Or one inaccurate? Is there any inaccuracy in what I'm saying? The 2 greatest factors to buy a home: income and debt. Debt to income ratio is what they use to determine if you qualify for mortgage in the United States of America. So if men have more money than you, if men have less debt than you, why wouldn't men are better qualified to buy homes than you are? So if that stat was put together to try to put men down for not buying homes, it failed. It failed. Now, reason number 2, I had to address this topic. And real quick, Ekin, let me say this. I'm gonna bring you back up. I just wanted to make myself big. Let me say this. And all the men in the chat that feel the same way, I want you to help me with this. Because this is about progress. And I hope that some stats and some news is brought up so we can do this. Let's give applause to the ladies that have made progress and are able to achieve the dream of home ownership. I want to give you applause, because that is what these particular stats and these particular announcements are supposed to be for. I want to give you applause. If you are a woman that has saved, If you are a woman that has put herself in the position, you inherited something, and you want to say, what is the best way to set myself up, my household up, my children up? Y'all know that is one of the key gateways to wealth is home ownership. I got family members that have to move out of the state now because they didn't buy a home fast enough and they can no longer afford them in this area. They got to move somewhere else, further south. What's that? Nashville. What's that part of Mississippi? That damn show, Huntsville, South Carolina. Further out, deeper into Georgia, they got to go there to buy a house now because Texas got taken over by the Californians, and the homes are too damn pricey now. If I didn't buy this house in 2020, I would have had to save up. I think I calculated to pay what I'm paying in mortgage right now. I'd have had to put 130 grand down on this house. That's how much that I got more equity than that in this house now. But in order to afford it right now, I would have had to put down $130,000. What American person, what single person got $1,030 to put down on anything? That's how hard it is to buy a home these days. All right. So I want to give applause to the woman that ordered their steps in a certain way, or the Lord orders steps. They set their steps. They did the work. They problem solved. They etched out a plan. I want to give you applause for what you are doing. If you were able to achieve the dream of home ownership in this climate, I want to applaud you for what you're doing. And before we get deeper into this topic, I do not want to distract from that point. That was my ultimate point. All right. We should not have to have these discussions in a competitive manner when it's meant to give applause to the people who are doing something. But since y'all decided to take this left, as y'all often do, we're going to talk about it. All right. If you're glad to see the Trigger Mike show, please drop a super chat. Show some love to your boy. My man, Big Ant, is in the building. Trigger Mike said, "What up, bro? You let a bird kick your ass?" Yeah. The builders let a bird kick my ass. So, home ownership tip. The dude said they put your vent hood where your microwave is, that it vents out of your house. If they don't put a screen behind that, the little shutter thing they create, if they don't put a screen back there, birds break it and build a nest in that mug. And one of the birds fell down and couldn't get back up, making all this damn noise in my house. He says sometimes you got to remove the microwave. He didn't have to do that. He said sometimes they got to remove the microwave to let the bird fly out. So it'll cost me more bread if he had to do that. All right. So yeah, home ownership is pricey. My man Ikene, my bad. Come back up. I'm gonna drop the link for y'all, man. Please come up and talk about this with me. What are we gonna talk about? Home ownership. We're gonna talk about how this stat was wrong, messed up. The stat we are talking about and discussing this evening is single women in the U.S. own more homes than single men, according to a new study. Talk to me about why you think this stat was brought up. Was it brought about to make men look stupid? We know it was brought out to make women look like they're making progress, which I don't see any problem with, but I want to discuss it with y'all. Click the link, come up and discuss it with me. Ikene, what's going on, my man? Good evening.
Not too much. How you doing, my brother? Yeah,
I'm good. I'm
trying to get this camera to behave.
No, you good. I can hear you. I can see you. What you got on top?
Yeah. The thing is that you're not a first-time home buyer, right? When you bought your house, were you a first-time home buyer?
It was my first home, but I didn't use first-time home buyers.
Oh, okay. Because if you don't use it, I think it's 20%. But if you use it, it's like 3 point.
Yeah.
Can go up
So
to 5%.
interestingly enough, people act like that's a flex, but only putting 3% down on your house, your mortgage gonna be high as hell.
Yeah, it's going to be high as well.
Yeah, I put
But
down
what
20.
happened is that what I do tell people in terms of buying a house is this: buy a house like you're buying it. You're you're in Nigeria buying a house, you want to pay towards your principal as fast as you can. You see what I'm saying? To catch up with that 20%. If you can catch up with that 20% in a year, that's significant. Your payment is not going to change, but by attacking the principal, it helps you a whole lot. Because the thing about buying a house, if you're buying a house for investment, based on what I've discussed with so many people, if you're buying a house for investment, yes, you don't have to pay it off. Don't try to pay it off if you want to just use it for LLC and tax deductible. But if you want to use your house to invest, like cash out and invest towards a business, you want to tag that that principal, pay towards the principal a lot, so that when you have what do they call it? When you have your equity, right? You might want to cash on your equity if you want to, or you can just let your equity be there until you pay off your house. Then you can cash your equity and then probably get a lower interest rate and then refinance all over again and use your equity towards business. Don't use your equity towards throwing a party. Make sure your equity is going to work for you, because some people use their equity and then throw parties, buy new cars.
Real quick, let me address this. So that's that PR chick says. So now black men are mad because single women are not bums. Productive, tax-paying citizens that buy homes to build equity and wealth. Got it. We are not living in homeless shelters for your egos. So, my lady, you must not have been present on this show very long. Nobody is mad that women are out here buying houses. We just had a moment of applause for such women. Now, the part that y'all don't understand is that this very attitude is why we have to have this fucking show in the first place. This attitude is why we had to make this show in the first place. Ain't nobody mad that y'all out here buying houses. Good for you. Just leave us out of it. Men don't buy homes unless they got families to put in them. Now, because she had to do this, I got to go into the second part of my discussion really quick. Now, single women buying homes as tax shelters, as ways to build equity, build wealth, it's not necessarily the greatest thing to do if it's your primary residence. So that's the one thing that we have to make a good distinction for. If you got into a house when I got into it, meaning I bought the last, when I say the last house at the price range I got it for, I have to stop telling my neighbors what I paid for my house because it makes them mad. I was the third house in my section. I couldn't close originally because of COVID. I think we got an echo, Ikene. The week of the closing of this house, they shut everything down for 2 weeks. So you know how when everything opened back up, maybe like a month later, people started buying houses crazy. They dropped the interest rate, and then all the inventory homes were gone. All my neighbors paid at least $70,000 more than I did. At least $70,000 more. All right. So Miles in the dark. We got Pain. What's going on? Oh,
hey
snap.
man,
Pain
what's
got
going on?
Pain and grew out the beard.
Hey man, I'm
Yeah,
trying to turn it around.
Pen was on
All
my
right.
show this evening
But
Yeah,
let
man.
me
on
give
my
y'all a
business
stat.
show.
Let me give y'all
Thank
a
you,
stat
Pen.
I probably didn't know. Let me bring up a stat real quick so we can
Okay.
stop this nonsense right now. When I heard, or I'm sorry, after I read the comments from the Spiritual Word post about women owning more homes, I said, do men actually, are men dropping the ball? I already know that men will not purchase a house as their primary residence. Most men won't purchase unless they have a family. Their primary residence will not be a home. They won't do that. So then I started thinking like, all right, well, what are the real estate investment? What are the real estate investment? Look at this. if y'all can see it, I don't know if y'all can see it, but I've looked at three
We can see
different
it.
stats
We
on
can see
this.
it.
I've looked at three different stats. Real estate investor gender statistics. 31.6% of real estate investors are women, and 68.4% of real estate investors are men. So this proves my position right. Men are getting into real estate. They just don't keep a home as their primary residence. If 70% of real estate investors are men and 30% are women, men don't tend to want a home as their primary residence. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's what I'd be doing if I didn't have a family.
Right.
If I didn't have a family, I would be just looking at the bread like, hey, can I pick this up for a flip? Can I pick this up as like a little long-term hold, maybe a duplex, get some rent, wait for the price to go up? That's what I would be doing. But I'm gonna let y'all have it. Go ahead, Payne.
So
Speak on it.
good. And you want me to go? I'll go real quick. Trigger Mike. So one of the things that you're doing is that when women speak, you always have to, put the rational, some rationale to it, right? Men who are single, they're not buying big homes so they can sleep in a bed in one room somewhere.
Yeah.
If they're going to invest in real estate, women look at it as a badge of honor to get a home.
Yeah.
They don't got no man, but they got a 6-bedroom house that they're going to sleep in. I mean, it's if they read Rich Man Poor Dad, they would know that a home, your own personal home, is kind of like a liability. Because you're not making any money on it. It might appreciate, but you gotta baby it like a dog, right? You gotta pay for it. You gotta do the insurance. You gotta fix it up. You gotta nurture it. Now, it's not giving you any revenue. It's just taking money away from you for the long term. So women look at that as a badge of honor. Men don't look at that. Here's another thing women are short-sighted of. If they find a man they want, he's not moving into their house with their goddamn name on it. They're going to have to sell that shit to at least half of it to him, or else he ain't moving in.
Yep.
So
This is another thing. We're gonna get into that. I don't want to distract from the point. But the badge of honor kind of becomes a handicap in that sense.
Yeah.
Because if you're not willing to sell that house, that's something that I wanted to get into. Because you don't have to, like that whole sell me half of your house. What they might look at it as is giving away half of their equity, right? But if you can keep that house, if it's a house that you're able to rent, then there are other options there. But we're gonna get into that. Let me get Miles in here on this. Miles, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Trigger Mike? How you doing, R-Pain?
Hey, what's going on, Miles?
Doing pretty good. Well, I would say the other thing too, like guys that are like around my age, it'd make more sense in essence also if you're single to get a townhome, live in one part of the townhome, and then rent out all the other areas if you have enough money to be able to own and operate your own townhome, because then you can get that passive income coming in as well. But also we got to talk about the eviction rates as well, with the amount of people that are getting these homes as well, to tell the difference between both the male and female genders.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me ask y'all. Let me get these super chats real quick. My man General Treats, $2, appreciate that. Says Ikane is the echo. My man HD with the $5 says salute, appreciate that. Welcome Trigger Mike back with a super chat. If y'all do that, I'll come on more often. I'll be tired of this mud, but I had to do one. I had to get one in here, man. I've been neglecting my duties.
Right.
I ain't gonna do that for much longer. But work has been hectic. I'm glad to see y'all back. But yeah, now that we're talking about it, man, that's just the part that I wanted to talk about. But what do you think this stat was brought up as? Let's just talk about the nature of what's going on. Why do you think they would present a stat like that? And what do you think they were meaning by putting out a stat simply saying single women own more homes than single men? Does that even matter? I'm gonna leave it to y'all. Let me know.
Well, listen, you know what? First, let's get it straight. It's across all demographics, by the way. It's not just black women.
Yep.
And it's part of the feminist trope, right? One of the things of success was owning a home. But when men and women don't think alike. Owning a home to us is starting our family and having a place to secure a legacy, a home base, if you will, with a wife and all that kind of stuff. And most women, when they fall in love with or they fall for their guy, he's got bean bags and shit and all that kind of stuff, maybe a nice car. And then it's because of her and starting a family that you level up. You buy a house, you got rooms, you have a place for the kids to play. But they don't look at it from a practical standpoint. It's like there's a projection for them. It's like, when women project that black men only want white women. Well, the truth of the matter is they're projecting because they see it more of a badge of honor having a white man than we would having a white woman. So they project. They say we cheat. It's really a projection because they cheat a whole lot more than we do.
Yep.
So they project a lot. So I generally trying to stay away from talking about honeys because it's a waste of time. But we just don't think differently. I'm not even saying the way they think is bad. It's just they try to think that we're the same. So when they speak out loud on these airways, they look at everybody thinking from a female's perspective.
All right, Miles, got a question for you, dog.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask this because now that we talked about it a little bit, I'm gonna drop the Didi, I was just about to send you the link. You can come up, chat with us for a little bit. Now that we talked about it, the announcement is out there. Let's talk about for the young people who don't have homes yet. All right. Is it a smart idea? So let's really talk about it from the standpoint of some of us are homeowners. I think, Payne is a homeowner. Ikene, I believe, is a homeowner. I'm a homeowner. I think we are saying that if we weren't married, we wouldn't be really looking into this, or if we weren't married with children, rather, right? Is it a good idea to own a home as your primary residence?
What age would you say?
Yeah, I was going to say it's age dependent.
Yeah.
Is it a good idea to be single? Let's just say, is it a good idea to be single? Y'all can discuss the nuances of it, but is it a good idea to be single and own a home as your primary residence? Y'all got it.
I would say one of the biggest reasons why I don't see why women would want to do that is because they always have that, like, they catastrophize everything to where their thought process is always in a scared mindset. So I don't see why they would buy a property for just themselves and just keep perpetuating themselves being in a vulnerable position constantly while in that same position. So I don't really see why they do that, because if they're just going to keep complaining about I feel so vulnerable being here by myself, but you bought the home. It's kind of
okay. That's one viewpoint. That's one insight. Payne, what is your insight? I think I got one.
Well, like I said, it's not one size fits all. It's like when you buy, if it's strategic and part of your plan, I think it's age dependent. If you're just starting out in your 20s, I don't know if buying a home is your best thing, but I understand about paying rent as opposed to having some equity being built up. And if you're strategic about it and you understand that while you're building that equity, you got to keep investing into the property over a long period of time. And then the kind of loan you get matters. Most people who get a loan, they get the 30-year loan and they pay like twice as much for the property, or more. So it's strategic. So I don't want to just say no or yes. It just depends. If I'm 30 and I've been paying rent, townhomes might be a good idea, but I don't want those. I don't want no walls sharing with neighbors. I don't like that idea. So yeah, you might buy a house later on, but it has to be part of your plan, right? Where you might have investment properties as well, or some kind of LLC, somehow where you can monetize part of your property you live in, like a home office or whatever.
Got you. I'm kind of with you on that. It depends. There's definitely situations, but what I will say is the situation, if you are a single person trying to get a house in any time in the last 2.5, 3 years, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
You are wrong. These interest rates, you don't own the house owns you. Let's just be honest. At the average interest rate right now, the only reason I'm even thinking about getting a house right now is because it's in that teeter-totter phase where I'm going to be paying a higher interest rate for maybe a year until it goes down. But the second the interest rates go down, the prices are going to go back up. So
Right.
the builders have a large amount of inventory, which is why you should always buy, because they're negotiate. When they have a bunch of inventory, they will negotiate the price of the house. But the second they run out of inventory, it becomes a seller's market.
Right.
Right. So that and the other reason that we're buying is that I bought a home right when COVID hit. So all of the equity from the price increases, I'm just transferring my investment. I got 150K in equity at least to just put down on a house that costs 150K more than it did pre-2020. So it's just like a transfer of investment. Like looking at the difference between a 7, we just did this today, which is crazy. Looking at the difference between a 7% interest rate mortgage and a 4% is astronomical.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Astronomical.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really advise most people to go out and buy a house today if they can swing it. The house will own you. There is a such thing as being house poor, because it don't think about your mortgage as the only expense in a house. When you just move into a house, you are gonna finance your life out. You want new furniture. They're gonna come to your door trying to sell you AT&T, ring doorbell serve. They like, look, that stuff is gonna stack up to $5K a month real quick, real freaking quick. So that's what I got to say on it. But let's welcome Dee Dee to the show.
Hey, hey.
What's
What
up,
you got
BB?
on the topic? So
been a
give us the
while.
female perspective. Why do you think so many single women are buying homes? What do you think that's about?
Well, a lot of us want the opportunity to raise our children in homes and not in apartments. Um, if you don't have the husband, you don't want to miss out on that part of life, waiting for the husband to be able to do it. So some women have opted to do that. Also, it is a little bit more financially advantageous to do so for some people, because when you make a certain amount of money, you might just want to go ahead and buy a house rather than constantly renting. You don't get the chance to reap the benefits of the tax write-offs of being a homeowner. So for some people, financially, it's a better decision.
Okay. I actually like that. So let's run with that. So I like that. Now, to me, if a woman, let me ask you this, because I can honestly see why women always try to get their kids into better school districts. The better school districts are in the suburbs with more homes. Usually there are more homes than there are apartments. All right. Even though they're building a lot of apartments out here and the homeowners are pissed. They're pissed. Apartments creates traffic, and unfortunately it creates crime. And it was weird because I had a Mexican neighbor. And I hope he's Mexican. I call all South American people Mexican. I don't know if y'all do that, but I got a
Latino.
Mexican neighbor. But I never expected this stuff to come out his mouth that came out his mouth. He said, "Man, all these fucking Mexicans moving here." And I was like, "Bro, what do you mean?" I was like, "What is he trying to say?" He said, "Listen, if you go into right into the suburbs, right at the beginning that is contiguous with Houston," he said that area became real hood real fast. That part of Katy, Texas used to be very upscale because nobody lived there. Then he said they start building a lot of apartments, which means he said anywhere you see men home during the day, the crime rate about to go up. And as soon as he said that, being a black person who lived adjacent to the hood my whole life, I was like, oh shit, that is true. If you anywhere where a bunch of men are home during the day, walking around the neighborhood, planted on a stoop, oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of robbery, a lot of burglary, a lot of car theft.
I agree.
So yeah, so a lot of people don't like apartments, and I think a lot of women are getting out. He talk about black men. You toxic, Miss Live Your Life. He was actually talking about Mexican men. This is H-Town. All right, but let me ask you this. So single women owning homes, what percentage of these women do you think acquire those homes through divorce?
I would say maybe about roughly, I would say 8%. And the only reason why I would say 8% is because I'm going to compare that to the alimony. Only about 8% of people get alimony.
That's true. But
But that's a wild guess.
I'm gonna take a guess and say it's more than that. The reason why I say it's more than that is just because of my neighborhood. When it says single women are homeowners, I think about it like it is extremely hard to get a home. Has been for years. Extremely hard to get a home. The average price of a home has gone up like 400% compared to the average wage, the increase of the wages. So if you look at how a woman is able to acquire a house or a home, rather, because people were having a discussion in that chat about child support. Whenever we have a discussion about child support, people got to remember child support is only one thing a man may be responsible for in order to pay by the court. People don't even understand that. I have a homie that's in the Navy that pays child support, but also has to he also has to pay health insurance, which is not included in child support. Right? He like the way his stuff is laid out, money that he gets, he has to give for different purposes. Child support is only one designation of what he's giving. So I would say that it's as hard as it is to get a home, period. The woman got that home with her and the man teaming up. They paid into it for a certain amount of time. They get divorced. She keeps the house because she's able to work and at least pay the mortgage by herself. I would say that's at least 20% of these cases, just because I know how hard it is for people to get a home and the fact that women make less, right? So to get in that house is actually very hard. But I say it's about 20%. What do y'all think? Miles, you got it.
I would say that 25%, 25% at the max would be my estimation.
Okay. Ekene just went on a siesta. That dude been gone.
He's probably with his daughter.
That's probably true.
But I think
Shout out.
that number is kind of generous, though. Like, I think you're being very generous with that. Because when you consider that you have a lot of women that are in the military, so now they
Mhm.
have access to the veterans and the military, loans and stuff like that, that put
Yeah.
them in a
Wow.
position where they're able to take advantage of these housing programs.
How many
So
Yeah.
women do you think are
it
in the
is a little
military?
easier depending on what your career field is,
Uh,
too.
yeah. Well, I mean, let's do this. Let's do this. It's easier for women to buy homes. Every assistance program,
Okay.
it's not specifically for women, but it discriminates against men for women. It's literally for women. The one that my wife found for her sisters basically declined every dude because it basically says you have preference for this, that, and the third. Meaning, if you have children and you make under a certain amount of money, like you can't get in there. If you make a certain amount of money, you can't get in there. So you see what I'm saying? So she said I think her brother applied, got denied. Single man, 23 years old, no kids, got denied. He makes under the amount of money. But who did you go to the neighborhood and you say, okay, who can get this? Her sister could have got it. Single mom, 2 kids, makes below the minimum. Like they save these neighborhoods, they save these opportunities for them. Right?
But it's for the children to get an opportunity to be in an environment that the children would not necessarily be in if they were
Is,
going solely off
is
of the
that
mother's
okay?
income.
Is that fair? Like, agreed. Agreed.
I'm okay with affirmative action and things of that nature. So I guess so.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's fair.
Uh,
Ooh.
so
Hmm.
Mike, let's look at the motivation again. One, if you really look at divorce courts and property, a lot of the what they call the community property states, I think men and women are usually forced to sell a home.
Yep.
That's split 50-50. So I don't know whether women just automatically get it. If it's around 8%, that's probably a good number. Because if they can't afford to keep a home, if they split, they just sell it. So and I think, and I need to ask you a question though, Mike. I mean, just the premise of the program, is it really bad or is it anything nefarious about women buying homes? or is it just because the way they use it as a badge of honor? You know what I'm saying?
So we talked about it before. I guess you came in a little late in the show. We said it's supposed to be a moment of applause.
Okay.
It just speaks to the progress that women are making. The sad part is when they use it as a make it in the spirit of competition to what men are doing, as if we make the same decisions. We're very different.
Well,
So no,
okay.
it's not supposed to be nefarious at all. It's supposed to be a good thing, something to be celebrated among
Okay.
women.
So
That is a major gateway to wealth, right? So no, it's not supposed to
well,
be.
it's a gateway to wealth if it's part of your plan, as opposed to being an anchor on your shoulder. A lot of people lose their homes,
Yep.
right? So let's put it this way: women generally use these things in comparison to men, not because they belittle men, it's because they still look at us as the champions to aspire to. I mean, that's the way to look at it. Like,
Yep.
for example, here's a real easy example, and it happened years ago when actresses stopped calling themselves actresses because they thought being an actor has better status. Subtle, but that's why they did it. You know, so they hate the term actress, but that's what you are. But no, they want to just call themselves actors. So, I mean, you know, I think we look at the competition from their lens because yeah, they are competing, but I think at some point that shit needs to just bounce off our backs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
All
saying?
right.
It's just
Go
bounce
ahead,
off
y'all.
our back.
Go ahead, Ikene.
Yeah, man, I was putting my daughter to sleep.
I knew it.
Hey,
I heard what you
you
guys.
got it, pops.
I knew it.
You
Yeah,
got it. We ain't mad.
I had you guys in the background. So thank you, Mike for coming to my aid, man.
Hey,
No
yeah,
doubt.
yeah. I
Hey,
already know.
Didi, what's up, dude? Yeah,
Hey.
All right. So
yeah,
now let's switch gears a little bit, y'all.
yeah. Let me
There was a
answer. Let. Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I thought I was good. Yeah. Okay, this is what it is, right? Not Look at the way the market is. You know, if I remember about 15 years ago, women couldn't count child support as an income towards credit application. They couldn't do that, but now they can.
I didn't know that.
Even though it's not steady, they can use it as is. Yeah. But then if you look at it also, most of them, I won't say most of them, some of them do buy house as rubbing it in the face that they are successful. But not just like Sugar Mike said, there are other things that add up when you move into a house. You might be looking at $4,500 mortgage. It's going to be $8,000 or $7,000. The reason why you have to pay almost $500 a month for furniture that you bought, or $1,000 a month, depending on how much the furniture is. If you remember I remember when I was working at a furniture store. So when people want to close on their house, I'll tell them, when you close on your house today, come today and buy that furniture. Don't wait till tomorrow, because as soon as they turn in that paperwork, you are going to be declined for credit application for the next
Yep.
1 year.
Hmm.
And they will not listen. They will come the next day. Some will come that same day and get approved. The ones that come the next day will not get approved. So we have this, what they call 90-day credit. I call it 90-day credit
Same as
predatory.
cash.
Yeah, same as cash. It's 90-day credit predatory. So what they will do, will push them to that. We still end the same, like the furniture store tells us all the time to do it. They will tell us those is to push them there because we know they're being ripped off. I really didn't have that heart because I know they're being ripped off. But the furniture store will tell us, don't worry about it because these people are not going to spend more than 2,000, 3,000, and they're going to pay it off in 30 days. If they don't, they're going to find a way to pay it. But the thing is this, you're earning the same commission. It doesn't matter if it's cash, credit card, that's the traditional credit card, or the rip-off credit card. Whichever one they do, you getting the same amount. Guess what? They will do that same as cash, 90 days same as cash.
Mm-hmm.
And that for that 90 days, some people are spending $10,000 a month. Just paying $10,000 plus mortgage. Oh shit. Paying $10,000. Yeah. My stand is 3 leg, is not 4 leg. Yeah. So just check out paying that mortgage. That is a torture with that furniture. I have a Nigerian lady with her husband that had to pay $15,000 in 3 months. They work
All
their
right.
ass off.
We're gonna get to this next one. You know, Ikene gonna give us a Greek tragedy monologue. All right. So now we're switching gears, right? We're going from women owning homes until to people owning homes. I need somebody in the chat to fact check me on this because I did the numbers last year. The numbers said that we're making a big stink about nothing because 14% of women own homes, single women. I'm sorry. 14% of single women own homes versus 9%. That is not a lot of people. In the suburbs where I live, like you walk around, I even had a talk with my wife about something like this today. It's all families. There are barely any single people out here. The single woman in my section that got a home, one divorced, both of them are divorced. One lived in the estates in the neighborhood and came to our section because they split the money from the house sale. So she just bought another home, and the other lady divorced her husband and he moved out. All right, so those are the only single women in my section. All right, so single people don't really own homes like that. So the thing that I'm about to bring up now is explaining in detail something that I'm very, very passionate about, and I need y'all to get on the same accord with me. Y'all know my whole stance, my whole platform is about family, so I want y'all to listen to this guy in the next video, and we're gonna share thoughts on it after we're done.
In our community, I'm a mortgage broker. I see so many one-person applications, and that one person makes $5,000 a month. It's simple math. 46% is what's called your housing expense ratio. Now let's say there's a husband and wife, and they both make $5,000 each. What's 46% of 10 grand? $4,600 per month versus $2,300 per month. Right now in Broward County, the average mortgage payment as of March 2023, $3,000 per month. So when you don't have mom and child teaming up together, or husband and wife teaming up together, or grandma that has Social Security, mom that has a job, child that has a job teaming up together, you're not going to qualify for a mortgage right now. That's how you get pushed out of your neighborhood. It's just that simple. So if we don't fix the fundamental problems, marriage, stop divorcing each other over trivial matters. It's the truth. I'm speaking the truth. Like, come on, at some point you gotta have respect in the relationship and not yell at each other. Just calm it down a little bit and think about the bigger picture.
So y'all know that's what I'm all about. But let me get this super chat real quick. My man Ant says, Mike, I thought of buying a house when I retire, but changed my mind on that. The next 3 to 5 years are going to be interesting. If something do go down, I'm moving in with pain. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. All right, y'all, let's chop it up. What do y'all think about the video? Pain, you got it.
It's good. He's right. He's right, man. I've been around the airways, man, and marriage is the cornerstone of society. I mean, you can read it in literature and everything else, but the things people get divorced over now is just dumb, stupid shit. And then women use the word abuse, because the guy don't want you to dance with Usher with your ass out. That's abuse, shit like that. So I don't know, man. I live in a different time, but I see, right? I see what's going on out there. I'm just glad I'm not a part of it, but my daughters are.
Mm-hmm.
They got to live through it. So we talk about stuff, because we have Sunday dinners together, and it's so great to hear them speak as adults, as they moved in, into society. And, so we have some adult conversation about these kind of matters, so I just say, listen, you got to stay together to build generational wealth. Unless you luck up, and how many people are CEOs or making hundreds of thousands of dollars sink by themselves? there's also women out there who say marriage benefits men because we live longer, right? And they use that as a hammer against men. And I said, well, most men live longer in their marriage with a loving wife and children because he has obligations that keeps you alive.
Period. Period.
That keeps you
We
alive.
treat
Something to look forward
if
to.
you're not married, you treat yourself like shit.
Yeah.
You do
I mean,
reckless shit. You
hey,
buy the most expensive sports car. You race people for no damn reason. If I got kids, I ain't doing that shit no more.
yeah, you give up the motorcycle, all kinds of shit, man.
Yeah.
So I just sit back and just listen to people talk, and I'm trying to have grace all the way around because I think, because men say stupid shit, but not like what women say, at least not so publicly on these airwaves and kind of look like they mean it. I said, come on. You're going to stay single for all your life. Well, I'm happy now, but I'm 30. But at 40 years old, then they crying on the goddamn internet when the door's starting to physically close. 45 maybe, So it's just a shame. I don't know. My whole attitude is starting to morph to what are the solutions. So that brother had a nice solution. Hey, listen, you want to do something, find somebody to jive with, and for heaven's sakes, stop calling your husband your partner. God damn it.
Yes.
They're not the same thing. So anyway, I'll just land it there.
All right. Miles, what you got? What you think about the video, bro?
Well, from understanding how marriage is not only just the biggest wealth builder, but it builds communities, it builds families in of itself, and it keeps not just the immediate family intact, but it keeps your extended family intact, especially if you have everybody living in the same community itself. But the other big thing, like I see in like the next, by the time I'm like your age, Trigger Mike, I see marriage being like in totality in America being down to like 20% of people will be married. Because like if our pain, are you in your 70s?
Yeah, no, not yet. I'm 65.
Okay, because my grandfather's like in his 70s now, and I see like in the next 10, 15 years, like people in his generation are gonna
Yes.
start to move on, and I
Right.
see well like Gen X and then the millennials are doing, and seeing how that's not very much, and how they're influencing people in my generation, and seeing how much toxicity is supported. I can't, and the fact that not everybody has standards that they actually like hold themselves firm to, especially when it comes to marriage, because marriage is a standard. That is a very strong standard that you need to uphold and understand that every day it's going to be work, no matter like just it's going to be work to be able to keep the relationship with each other beneficial to where the kids will be able to grow up in the best situation possible.
Hey, Miles, let me just add one thing to you say. Okay, when you say marriage is work, that's true, but it doesn't have to be hard work. It doesn't have to be hard. That's one of the things I think I hear people say. I'm not saying you intimate it, but it's work to keep it there. Every so often you got to check each other. But man, my wife has been so goddamn bliss over the last 30 something years. I don't know what to say to people. That's because I'm not a unicorn. Maybe I just found the right woman. She might look at me like I'm crazy most of the time, but I treat her nice. But still, we don't argue over a lot of stuff, man. I can almost count on one hand the real arguments that we had that were over by the end of the day. And that was it. And one of those was on whether we were going to get a dog.
Mm.
So
you know why she was arguing with your ass, because she was the one who was going to have to take care of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't take it, like I don't even want to touch, like get the hell off me. My dog. I told my kids, this is your goddamn dog. You feed it, you walk it.
I had two girls. They wasn't walking no dog, man.
Yeah, I was like, you walk the damn, he your dog. What the? That's why she knows she gonna be the one.
So let me just land it there. But there's good points, Mal, for sure.
But that's also because you communicate a lot with your wife as well, though. The people
all the time.
That like now the communication between both men and women is dying down so much because we're not able to get through each other Because I've noticed that from me playing like college sports and playing like college football, a lot like in the locker room and in the weight room, we all communicate very directly with each other. And then even when I got out of that realm and into the real world, I still communicate directly with everybody, so they know what my stance is on things. And I don't do it. Sometimes will do it bluntly, but they understand the type of person I am, and they're actually able to take the information in and absorb it. Even like the women that I've dealt with in my life, they're able to absorb it well.
Hmm.
That's hard to
All right.
find a girl that can absorb blunt information well. That is very hard to find.
Miss, she said she see me
Yeah,
loving on a damn dog. All right, maybe once or twice, but not for real. For real. All right, Ikene, go ahead. What you got, man?
yeah. Look at it this way, guys. If you if you see the way things are done, like when if you remember our parents, right? They will sit down, the dad and the moms, they will call a meeting, and every morning or once a week, we all sit down and discuss family issues for an hour or two before everybody go about their business. Because that way will make sure that we are all on the same page. So after my mom and dad died, right? We as a family, even though we have our own children, we still discuss things about our family. We still have to talk about and say, okay, what is it that we are doing? What are we doing wrong? What are we doing to help? My brother will come and say, hey, I need this thing. Can you buy it for me? I'll buy it and send it to him. Um, and we always want to make sure that everything in our family is going okay according to what our parents want, according to what our parents discuss with us from childhood to adult age. But if you look at today, you see that some of the men and some of the women that are born today weren't raised in those kind of families. When you call your girl and say, in fact, when your girl calls you and say, we need to talk, you're almost having a heart attack or semi-heart attack. Why? Because she wasn't raised like that. She didn't know the meaning of we have to talk. You don't call a man and say we need to talk. You ask a man, can he call for family meeting? When he calls for family meeting, then you discuss everything you want to discuss. Right there with the kids present, everybody present, as long as it's something you can discuss with him with the kids. If it's something private, then you find a way to discuss that while you guys on the bed. You don't call your man and say, hey, we need to talk. Man, it's like you don't summon a king. You see what I'm saying? So when men react like that, women think that we are being masculine or something. We don't want to hear anything from them. We don't listen to their emotions. No, it's the way you talk, the way you call my attention, the way you become me. That is the problem. You don't ask a man, come, let's talk. We gotta talk. No, you find the time and place. You rub on his chest, and then you start talking.
She can move her hand a bit lower. I don't like the
It
chest.
don't matter anywhere she put
A
her
lot
hand.
lower.
Chest rub does
But
nothing
guess
for you, boy.
what? But guess what? Conversation started.
Head rub does something.
And that moment, he can't really go nowhere. But when you tell somebody we got to talk, man, we have nothing to talk about because now you're somewhere in me. So that's the problem. But what we have to do is to teach them better. Let's go back. Like Mr. Penn was listening to me today. We need to go back to the culture. I don't want to talk about religion because religion is what started this nonsense at the first place. Let's go back to the culture. Let's
All
go
right,
back to the
we hitting the
tradition.
10-second timer on Ikene.
Yeah.
10-second timer.
That plane is taking off. Whew.
All right, Didi, you heard the video. What do you got on it?
Okay, I think the brother made some good points in the video. Ideally, we will always have more collectively and
Mm-hmm.
together. However, it is very hard to put some of these things into practical use. This is where things become difficult. It sounds good, but when he also mentioned, stop divorcing over trivial things, but he also mentioned, hey, join up with your mom or your sons or your children and
Yep,
stuff like
he
that.
did.
Mm-hmm.
And if everybody got fucked up credit, or if everybody is robbing Paul to pay Peter, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
hard to build like that. Also, we rarely in our culture, we don't really have financial discussions in depth to be able to form plans of collaboration like that. Nobody wants to be pocket watched. Rarely do
Mm,
we even discuss how much we are making per year, let
mm.
alone, these discussions are really not had amongst our family members, even
Yeah,
amongst our friends and coworkers.
She
I don't
making
really
some
know
great fucking
how
points.
much anybody makes too much unless I directly ask. We don't really have these discussions. And I don't know if
so
it's
Hey,
just my circle,
so
but
Didi, why do you think that is for us? I did have a partnership with a whole
You
bunch
made
of
some good
coworkers.
fucking points. You made good points there.
Yeah, but why do you think we don't do that as a matter of course? And is it just black people? Somebody's making a lot of noise.
That's Ikene.
Uh, you know,
mm.
No, it's not.
yeah, so why do you think that is? Why are we so reticent to do that? Do you have an idea about that?
I think having past experiences of being used by people that, they were in a situation where they didn't have it, that makes us a little leery hearing those type of stories, not wanting to be, you know, not wanting to be a victim of that type of thing could make us leery as well. I think a lack of trust.
Okay.
It's true enough.
So yeah, she brought up some good points there. I think the way I'll summarize it is because when you said nobody wants to be pocket watched, that was kind of huge. And what really catapulted me into that entire stream of thought is when I realized how many married people don't share accounts. I didn't even understand. When I heard that, I was like, what do you mean? How do you have financial transparency and y'all don't share a main account? Meaning the deposit on your main account better say your
What's the name?
job's LLC or corporation. Your direct deposit better be going in there. But like, how do you have financial transparency? This is like, y'all know there's a such thing as we're always talking about sexual infidelity. Y'all do know there's a such thing as financial infidelity.
Oh, absolutely.
And whenever they talk about finances being one of the reasons why people divorce, it's partially because of financial infidelity. And that is a breeding ground. Lack of transparency in finances is a breeding ground for financial infidelity. If y'all don't share an account, trust me, somebody's going to withhold information.
That's a man's fault, though.
Man, let me tell you, if you are one of these simps out here talking about what's hers is ours and what's hers is hers, you one of these idiots about to get left.
There's a lot of them out there, though.
It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of you. Like, look, what's ours is ours. Everything you got, everything I got, you could clearly see. We not only share accounts, we got what do you call a Rocket Money. She can see my 401k as it builds. Okay, it's linked to that. Because how are you going to get a better picture of where to move the money for the 529, for the children's college fund? You have to see all that shit go somewhere, and you got to track it in real time.
Yeah, me
That's
and my
why it's
wife,
called a household.
we have quarterly meetings. Me and my wife, she knows where everything, all the bones are buried.
Yep.
She has a bank account, right? A small bank account that she's had when she was, on her own. And I say I let her keep it. I don't care if she has it,
Yeah.
right? But ain't nothing in there.
So that's
You
the
know?
thing. That's the thing. Well, people say, well, your wife will say she had an account before you. Okay, any man that's going to determine that his wife's income or side hustle, whatever, is so insignificant to him that she can keep it, he still got to know about that shit.
Yeah,
You still got to know. Yeah, you have to deem it insignificant. Like, nah, you can keep that. That isn't even. Yeah, you buy your little bags with that money, but he has to deem it insignificant. Once a man finds out that a woman is withholding a significant amount of money, especially if you acting like we on hard times, and he out here breaking his bag. If we have like we got an emergency fund in my house, like I could pay the mortgage for like 2 years alone. If both of us lost our job today. But if I'm out here scratching my head and we on month 23 and I find out you got a secret account with $100,000 in it and I'm struggling to find a new job and you ain't say shit, oh, there's gonna be some smoke. There'll be some smoke. You can bet that. You can bet that. So you as the man have to deem her money insignificant. Like, nah, you keep that. I ain't worried about that. But you better know about it. That's all I'm saying. Damn, I don't even remember what the original thought was on how we went off on that tangent. Go ahead,
but to add to what you guys just said, let me put it this way: if you have a baby mama that have your kids, your biological kids, not the one that you think that might be your child, right? Or a wife that has your children, you need to let them know where all the bonds are buried.
Yeah.
Because number one, if anything happens to you, you see, we come across accidents every day, and some of the people don't make it out of that accident.
Mm-hmm.
If nobody have access to your wealth, the government is going to take it.
Yep. The bank is going to take it first. The bank.
Yeah, the bank will take it first, and then the government will take it from them. So you're giving some people, some bunch of assholes, your hard-earned money because you're trying to hide it from somebody that did you wrong, or somebody you have animosity for. You don't want to do that. Just like me, every piece of land that I have, every little real estate that I have, both international, I make sure my wife knows about it. In fact, transfer it under my offspring's name. Because that way, if anything goes wrong with me, I know that they are good. So, in having your stuff under somebody that is your offspring or that has custody of your offspring is what you should do for yourself. There is a place where common sense, logic, logic and common sense transcends feelings and emotions. We're always going to have that at the back of our mind. And then another thing that I was going to say: if you have a bank account and your wife or your husband doesn't know about it, that is the worst betrayal of trust in a relationship. Most men are not going to snoop into your bank accounts. They will not do that. Most women will. Most men will not. But you don't hide it from them. Because that you actually trying to cause something that is not there, generate something that's not there. But the thing about it is this: when I look at the way some people talk when it comes to issues like this, you have to understand that some women are totally traumatized in this life. They are so destroyed. In fact, they lack sense of family, that they think that it's okay to hide something from their husband, that they should have a bank account that their husband doesn't know of. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a separate account, but you should let him know you have it. Because if something happens to you tomorrow, that money is gone. That whole money is gone.
I mean, let me intervene, bro. The deception, listen, the deception part is always going to be constant. Even those little things such as a woman needs to have her own account, we need to move away from all of that. Those little micro behaviors developed into the monster that we see now. Yes. With married people having completely separate accounts. Where there is no transparency, this is not just in the arena of relationships, marriages, so on and so forth. Where there is no transparency, there will be fuckery. One or both people will be deceptive, and the being deceptive isn't even it doesn't even happen on purpose. Withholding information, starting to make decisions without the other person. So I made this affirmation last week on Lucky's show. I said that is the breeding ground for all you making money. You keep it in your own account. Your mom need $5,000. Your husband said, "Look, I'm gonna save $4. I'm gonna save $3,000 a month. You save $2, so we can have over $100,000 to put down on this house we're gonna buy in 2025. You like, yes, babe, I'm gonna do it. You don't say anything else about it. You've been giving money to this relative, giving money to that relative. You saw something, you did some accelerator builder and you paid them $15K and it didn't work out. So he asked you where your portion of the money at, and in 2 years you only got 35 grand. He gonna be like, what the yo, what happened? That lack of transparency is what led to you not telling him where you spent that money, right? So, these things are always stemming from our ability to just let freedom ring. That's not the way marriages or companionship or none of that shit's supposed to work. Because I think women think that if they give their money into one pot, somehow it restricts what they can spend. Oversight is always beneficial for both parties involved. All right. I can go by. I really, really think about this, y'all. I really, really, really want a Mercedes AMG 63, the two-door. I can get one for about $105,000. All right. I found one at whatever this dealership I used to live by in the Galleria, and I look at that shit every day. Every day on the internet, I look at it. And if I had separate accounts from my wife, like I'm almost about to hit my midlife crisis, she'd show up one day and that shit would just be in the driveway. And I'd be like, it's my money. I could do what I want. But I understand that when I move significant amounts of money into the account, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I like when people check me on what I'm doing, because we all got a responsible side and an irresponsible side. I'm a very responsible man. I make very irresponsible gun purchases sometimes. All right. Very irresponsible gun purchases. So I really like when my wife is like, why is 4,000 missing out of the account? And then be like, Watchtower Guns got a new gun coming out 2011. There's only 100 of them made. and she's like, how many times you gonna do that next month? And I'll be like, all right, that shit was kind of OD. Maybe I'm not gonna buy another one this quarter, right? Because if she didn't say something, because I bought the silver one, next week I might buy the black one. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I like having somebody say something sometimes before I go OD. It's very easy to sell people what they like, especially if they have disposable income. So oversight is beneficial to everybody.
True.
It's beneficial. But y'all got it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Anybody?
Do you really
Didi?
feel like that the women should? I feel like, okay, I'm kind of triggered here with the whole disclosing, like, will the women putting all of her income in one pot? I'm triggered by that.
Well, can I
That's
hit
not something
that?
I'm comfortable with.
All right.
You say what?
Okay. All right.
I wanted to address that.
Let me get the other side though. Are you comfortable with the man putting all of his income into a joint account for y'all?
Not quite. Like, I feel like there should be 4 accounts. Okay.
Huh?
I feel like there should be
Explain.
4 accounts
Explain.
in a marriage. There should be 4
Explain.
accounts. Okay. We got his account, her account, the couple's savings, the couple's spending.
All right. Let me ask you this.
Or the couple's bills and the couple's savings.
So
But
are
everybody
we?
should
Yeah.
have an account.
So do you think that particular setup can work with 100% transparency in a relationship or marriage?
Under the pretense that you will be filing taxes together, that is the transparency.
Okay. If you are filing jointly, that's one of the things that I told people anyway. If you hide shit, if y'all file taxes jointly, it's gonna come out. And some people say it's not gonna come out. No. If y'all file taxes jointly and then one person gets because now look, the IRS is computerized. They do know about your income and earnings and will send you a bill. And they will tell you why they sent you the bill. So yeah, you can't really hide income from your spouse like that. So go ahead.
So listen, if you negotiate how you want to handle money before you get into a relationship like you're supposed to, you negotiate it. I don't see any problem with what she just said. I mean, I would have one pot for all the bills. I wouldn't save my money in the bank. I'd have a money amount of money we invest in whatever we're going to invest in. But I don't have any issue, like I said, with my wife having a separate account because the money that she's supposed to put into the main account is there automatically. So I'm not, if she needed money like to do her shit up, like her hair, her nails, and all this kind of stuff, I don't care if that's what her money's for. She don't have to ask me for that shit, and don't have to come out of the main pot either, especially if she got it. And the things I might like to do, it doesn't have to come out of the pot. I mean, it could be called an allowance. It don't have to come out the main pot. As long as all the bills are paid, we have the investments squared away. I don't get paranoid over what the lady has on the side. Now, there's a big conversation about a one pot rule, but that's not how relationships are. It's not one size fits all. Trying to fit all this shit into a bag, into some kind of mold like that is where we got problems. If I'm married to a woman, you're married to a woman, Mike, Dee got a husband, and she did, each one of those relationships will have certain things in common if we have standards. But how we negotiate between each other is our business.
Yeah,
it's our business. And so we
I
could
agree with
put
you.
nefarious things on the edges because that's not how we would live. But that's not necessarily fair, and it's not necessarily correct.
I would challenge that to say, I think lack of transparency in any effect, like there is room for nuance, like you said, but there's very little room. I mean very little room. If you give what tends to happen when things are money related, remember, we're not just talking about bank accounts. Money between family members, husband and wife, breeds dishonesty. We know that's one of it's not a black issue. Money is the root of so
Yes.
many problems in
But
relationships.
Mike, let me hit the issue you just said. Listen, about transparency. We can just use numbers. If we both have to put, 70% of our income in the main pot to do, listen.
Yeah.
As long as we do that, why do I care that, the other part of her money is her money? Why do I care?
That is a good point to elaborate on. I'm gonna just tell you one example of
Okay.
what happened. 70% on because I can even do that in my ADP account for my job. I can go in and I can go in and send, because I think I send like 90% to something, and then I send 10%. 5% to the 401k, 5% to a Roth IRA. So I do it that way.
Right.
But my homeboy said that his wife, this is a financial infidelity situation, 70% of her income never changed. Because when she got promoted, she changed the 70% to the dollar amount that had been going in there for 2.5 years straight. So then when he was like, "You never got any raises?"
See,
Or
Mike, you
anything?
just keep putting nefarious shit
No,
on
no,
it.
no, 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 no. But listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. She did not communicate that she had gotten a promotion. She didn't communicate that because she felt like she didn't have to pay anymore. Then when he started getting into it, she felt like she didn't have to pay anymore because all the bills and all that stuff and what they agreed upon was paid. I think that it gives any lack of transparency gives the ability to
That's
hide
not
things.
why she did. The transparency had nothing to do with that. She's just ratchet. You think that if you have an agreement with her that you put 100% in a pot, that she can't find a way to do that too? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Let's just say you had a one pot system with that same example. If he didn't ask her, her one pot would have still been what she would have still not told him about the raise. She still wouldn't have told him about the raise. She would have just been putting what she was putting in all the time. So that has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the integrity of the individual. You can't control that. A person is just going to be. So this is the way I look at it is, if we have an agreement and she sticks by the agreement in all aspects, just like I do, you get a raise, a percentage. That's why I talk about percentages. That's how we and my wife talk. As long as those percentages are there, I don't need to be a stickler about the shit on the outside because we're taking care of business that we agreed to. And if she or me break that promise, that has nothing to do with that's us breaking a promise. You can, even if it was a one-part system, I can still break my promise.
Okay. I'm gonna call it a slippery slope because it involves money.
I hear
I've
you. I hear you.
I've
I mean, we
always
don't have to
noticed that
agree
with
on
people, I was gonna say with people, money is the root
that.
of most where even a person with a lot of integrity will decide to skirt the line of that integrity when it comes to money. That's why I say if you talk about transparency in a relationship, then that's where it's likely gonna end up, because financially people are trying to shore up their bet. But in a sense, both of y'all are right, because you can't hide this shit during the divorce. They're gonna find that shit either way. So
Most people are transparent about their body more than their money. That's another thing we can talk about.
yeah, they're gonna find that shit when it's divorce time. You can't hide it then. We'd like to know about this $35,000 that went into a Swiss bank account on April 30th of 2020. You might want to get that sent back this way or face prosecution. Like, yo, they'll find that shit. Trust. But let's switch gears real quick. So this is the last topic of the night. Nice video I came across from a nice brother talking about schools. And because the only reason I'm lumping this in is because people do move to these neighborhoods with good homes for good schools. And one of the issues that people are having, right? My son, he got accepted to the same charter school as his sister. For those of y'all that don't know, it is a public charter school, but they have like the longest waiting list in history. Because it's like free private school. They have the same curriculum. I'm sorry, this one has a better curriculum than the private school. They had more kids go to Ivy League school. So we've been trying to get in there. And I told my wife, I was like, they're going to get in there, because when we did our tour, I was like, they haven't even met their black quota. I said, we going to get in there. And a lot of people don't send their kids to that school because they ain't got no bus. I got to drop them off every day. And that, for a lot of people, I was like, ain't no working class people going to drive I was like, nah. Most people not going to. The school bus is a lifesaver to most people. It's a lifesaver. I was like, nah, ain't nobody. So I was like, trust me. They going to get in. We going to fill that black quota. But I'm going to play this because people move to these neighborhoods. I'm sorry. My wife got some complaints. A lot of the moms that she was meeting in the parent-teacher organization were complaining that they're pulling their kids out because their children went from public school to this charter school, and they were like, they give them too much homework, it's too hard. And my wife was silent. She said, I didn't say nothing because she thought about what I said. And I said, the students that end up failing in these type of schools, they don't have enough parent involvement. So the parent need to turn around and look at themselves. Right. And that's what this dude is saying. So think about this video real quick. I don't know why he looked like that, but
Yeah.
let me see if damn. Let me see if it was just a glitch.
Not the teachers. It is not the school. The school and the teachers are a supporting cast. The habits that they need to succeed in school are built at home first, with the parent first. If your kid is failing middle school, failing high school, but coming to school with Jordans, has an Xbox, a PlayStation 5, hanging out with friends, got a bicycle, he's popping wheelies down the street, he's got a brand new cell phone with Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat, but he's failing middle school, that is a parent thing.
Yeah, that's
All right,
not
anybody
fair.
can go. Anybody thoughts?
Yeah, this is what I gotta say because I have to say this, right? When I started skipping school and started acting bad in the street when I was a little kid.
You?
Yeah,
Wow.
I did. Yeah, I'm an engineer, but guess what? I gotta still speak based on experience. I never one day blamed my teachers. I knew it was my fault. I paid that price. It was never my teachers. It was me. Because I let the street get to me. The street got to me. You see what I'm saying? I experienced that street life, but never for one day blame teachers. And it bothers the crap out of me how parents have the audacity to go to school and blame school system for their own laziness and lackadaisicalness. One thing that I know about these millennial parents and late Gen X, that's Gen X, middle Gen X, and late, and these millennial that are parents, is that they are so lazy, so spoiled, and have spoiled their kids because they want to give their kids what they didn't have, that they will look themselves to the face and say, I'm not going to hold me responsible. I'm just going to find somebody else, because you know what? They are all full of bullshit, rotten parents. Rotten parents. They can never for one day hold themselves responsible. It's a very sad thing that they have that audacity to go to school and blame parents, blame teachers that have nothing to do with your child wearing a $400 shoe, having an Xbox, having a PlayStation, riding a bike on the street when they're supposed to be studying, and on TikTok, posting videos on TikTok, lying about their age. And you want to blame a teacher for that? Shame on you, parents.
Hey, I'm gonna just say this, man. These teachers about had it with these kids, man.
Yeah.
I've watched video. I don't know what's going on, but I've watched videos of these teachers straight snapping. Like, and it's sad because you like don't go to jail behind anybody else's kids, but they are losing it in these classrooms. They can't pay them enough now because look, you ain't getting paid no more. If teachers getting paid six figures, then that means inflation's out of control. All right, y'all get more holidays off. Look, that's why I'm anti-pay teachers more, because as many days off as they give y'all ass, no. If they pay y'all anymore, that means my property tax going up. So no, thank you. But yo, I will say this: these kids are out of control. They're all smart Alex. They just took the cell phones from some group of kids, and the kids walked out. They walked out of the school and wouldn't let the day continue because they put their foot down and said no more cell phones. Right? Boy, I wish that was my son. Like, it'd be a perfect day to take a stroll up to the school and kick somebody's ass in front of all his friends. Get your black ass to the school. What you doing?
So Mike, you're right, though, but all that still stems from what the brother said, right? The parents look at schools now as a babysitting thing, and they don't want to do anything at home. And that's how the LeBron school failed at all levels, including the parents, right? The kids are getting an opportunity to get some of the best kind of charter school money. They're putting a lot of money in that school, but none of the kids are doing their homework. They're not doing the stuff that they so they're not really fixing the problem. And the problem is the parents. They're starting to prosecute parents too for bad behavior that the kids are doing. It's starting to happen, especially the deadly ones. Then you see, a lady just in New York, they like to train surf, right? Kids get on top of the train, and while the train is moving, they're surfing the top. So her son kills himself, right? And she wants to sue everybody. There's a woman on TV talking about my son is the MTA is the internet. He showed a train surfing and they couldn't stop him from looking at it. Hey, chick, you're home. That's your kid. You ain't monitoring what he's watching. Right? So she blames everybody else but herself. And then, of course, there's no father around. There's no man around. And not that he might do anything better, but if your kid's surfing on top of the train, I think if you're a man, you might say some shit about that. So he kills himself, and now she's blaming the world. So the parents are not doing what they're supposed to do. And that's it. Now, people will say, well, you're old-fashioned, Rich. We don't do shit like that. That's just bullshit. Something, this whole thing that everything that happened in the past, we should get rid of because it ain't no good. And look where we are now. Good. When my kids, my kid is one is a millennial and one is a Gen Z. I had my kids when I was later in life. I was 41 years old when my youngest daughter was born. So she didn't have to grow up with me. But the one thing I wanted to do was make sure they had a desk and a quiet place to study. From as soon as they started like preschool, they had separate, and then we just upgraded the desk. So when they came home from school, they ate and they did their homework, and then we could talk about anything after that. Every day, every day, every day. And it wasn't a lot of work because it was autopilot after a while. They just knew what they had to do. So it's not really that different. So I just say people are just thinking about themselves. They have these kids, and they really don't look at the fact that they have to raise them. So I don't know what Gen Z is going to do. Hopefully there's a sea change coming, but they don't want to listen to nobody because they hate baby boomers. So I already know that. And they can only stomach Gen X's a little bit. And millennials and Gen Z think that all their problems are based on how we did shit in the past. And it's not true.
That's true. That is true.
And it has no bearing on how they could be in the future. So I don't know what they're going to do. So I hope there's some path forward. But in the Black community, it ain't looking that good, man. It's not looking
But I
that good.
gotta say, I gotta put it this way, Mr. Penn. I don't know if Didi still did. Mr. Penn, and Trigger Mike,
Yeah,
I gotta
go
put
ahead.
it this way. You see, the reason why this YouTube channel exists is because what millennials and some of the Gen Zs couldn't get, right? The next generation is gonna have it. That's we talking and we're raising them different. You see what I'm saying? Mr. Penn is very lucky. He raised his children right. His generation and the in Gen X's and some of the millennials, their kids are whack. But the ones that are coming, I believe they're gonna be fixed right. So that's why we should be doing what we're doing. We should be talking what we talk. We should be laying those points. We should be discussing it. Don't let nobody shame us. We should be going strong because these kids, I believe, are going to be raised in the culture that they need to fix this nonsense that has been happening because they're going to shame those Gen Zs. They're going to shame those Gen Zs. They're going to make what the millennials are doing, they're going to receive that shame from this next generation. They're going to tell them that you guys screwed up. And then because we are putting more better knowledge into them, things are going to look right. I have hope for the future. Not with these current ones that are grown already, no. But the next generation is coming.
Didi, you got anything?
Yeah, I'm an educator, so I can speak from it on both sides. So I feel like the person who made the video, actually, he kind of gave the vibes of somebody who wasn't a parent either. School is much different now. We have such a gap that is so horrible that the majority of the nation reads on a fourth grade level. How the hell can they help their children
The
with
majority of the
homework?
nation. I thought it was just black men.
No, we looking at the majority of the nation is
Oh,
reading at a
so they
fourth
just been
grade
rubbing
level.
it. Oh, so they just been saying black men.
Well, even if you want to limit it to the black community, if we're limited it to the black community, when you got people that literacy isn't past a fourth grade level,
You're right. You're right. American
how can they
literacy
help their
is
children with this homework? He was talking about children failing middle school and things like this, but we don't even multiply and divide. The way that I teach multiplication and division to the children today is not the way I learned it. And
Well,
I actually have to send home, I have to teach the parents how
yeah.
I do it so that way they can help their kids because I can't send home anything that a child is going to expect a child to remember what I said and their parent can't help them with it.
Okay.
So we have to bridge the gap with educating the parents as well
All
on
right.
how to teach the children.
I do agree. Let's just be clear on that. Those are facts. But we skipping steps. This is the one thing we tend to do. Like while we're backtracking, trying to figure out where the issue started, can we not clearly see that this is all related to the degradation of the family structure? It's all related. It's all the same. This is all
I
related.
think,
Yeah, go
but
ahead.
we can also relate this to capitalism because if people weren't working so much to make a living, they would not need to put their children in these daggone schools. But we have
Mm.
to work
You
all
know
these
what, Didi?
hours to make a living.
So let me ask you, because this was actually supposed to be the last question for tonight, but that's a good segue. Real quick, let me ask you: describe the ideal multifamily situation. Capitalism. Well, capitalism isn't the word. We were thriving. We can't blame it on capitalism because capitalism is the reason you can be rich. There are more rich people in this country than anywhere else on earth, right? Somebody can start making corn today and be rich tomorrow in this capitalist society, right? Or start an OF and be rich. So in that way, yes, you can take advantage of capitalism the same way, but it's really inflation. Inflation is going to push us back together. Some people, I just told you, I have a family member on my wife's side that has to move back south out of Texas because she can no longer afford the child care costs. Her and her husband cannot afford to buy a house and the child care with another baby on the way. No way. So they got to go live near family that can help. Right. So what is the ideal multifamily situation? What is that going to look like? Who would y'all and everybody in the chat, what would you feel comfortable with? Because let's just be real. Most of us that aren't doing great are going to be forced to be pushed back together or be homeless. There's going to be a lot of y'all that are late 20s and 30 somethings moving back in with your parents. They're going to be the same age people moving in with sisters or friends, best friends. It's going to be a lot of that shit going on. So what do you think, Didi?
Ideally, it's gonna look like what you make it look like. Life is what you make it. Ain't nobody dealt the same hand. We all gonna make the best decisions and with what we got.
All right, let me ask you this way. Who wouldn't you live with?
That question's time.
Ekanay and anybody on this panel.
All right, I'm not gonna get into too many details, but you know that's a lie. I know that's a lie. I know that's a lie. Didi will live with me.
Didi, why are you gonna do
Yo,
me like that?
You got snacks?
Why are you gonna do me like that?
I got snacks. Didi
Why you
lying
gonna
like
do me
shit.
like
Yo,
that?
she lived with me.
Oh
But
man, that's
the
so funny.
pantry stay full.
But
nah.
check this
Go ahead.
out, Trigger Mike, right? She is 100% correct. But to add to what she just said, that's my perspective, right? My view. If if we can have our women of all race, scale back from working, they will force inflation to go low. Because you gotta understand, inflation is artificial. This inflation that you're looking at right now is artificial.
Yep, I
It's,
agree.
they can bring it down tomorrow if they want to. You see what I'm saying? So if 50% of women workforce can say, you know what, we're going home, we're not doing this shit anymore, we're going home. I gotta tell you, US government will overnight every price of everything goes down overnight.
Yep.
Because the reason why, just check how many houses are going to be in 2 months. How many inventory you're going to have in houses? Almost 20% of the mortgage will be solvent right away in 2 months. 20% of mortgage. Do you know how many? Do you know how many million houses that is? Even in Texas alone, that is 20% of all existing mortgage, not future mortgage. I'm talking about existing one. And that is about 40% of new mortgage because more women are buying houses.
Mhm.
That is catastrophic.
So I like this definition better, or this
When we say
explanation.
artificial, it also means controlled.
Yeah, because I was gonna
Kind
say
of artificial.
throttled.
Go ahead.
It's throttled. Yeah, that's the way I understand it. So it did happen because of COVID.
Yeah.
Especially with homes. There were no inventory homes and it became a seller's market. So people started bidding. I watched the inflation of the home prices happen firsthand. So that part is not artificial. It was what people were willing to pay. So that was a complete supply and demand market. But the way they throttle it to bring the inflation down is what they're doing right now. So I like the control term a little better.
Well, all right. So listen, I'm reticent to blame anything on capitalism. There's good and bad with it.
Yeah.
But that's the way of life we've chosen in this country. But it's not the reason why we have the problems. So that I see. You know, it's just there. It's like it's the tracks we run on. We can make the best of it. We can make the worst of it. But if you ask me if the game's rigged, yeah, I would say the game is rigged. But it's rigged in every system around the world. So based on the question again about families and being responsible for the kids, it doesn't matter whether they could read a lot. There was men who couldn't read a book that had kids that were Rhodes Scholars.
Yep.
You know, so
Mhm.
so it's the discipline you put them in, whether you can do it or not. You find a place for them to learn what they can learn, whether you know it or not. There was a point where I stopped trying to critique my kids' homework because I didn't want to taint them with my limited knowledge. Even if I had a lot of knowledge, I'd rather them learn it from somebody who's teaching them, as opposed to me putting my stamp on it. Because both of my girls got better grades than I ever did in school. So, and I was an engineer. I mean, I got through hustle and bustle, but a lot of shit came to them easier. So I didn't want to dumb them. I don't want to dumb them down. I just paid the bills, you know, and I just made sure they did their work. And I looked at it, you know, if they wrote stuff, I read it and reread it and stuff like that. But, you know, the math and all the technology stuff, they would just seem to be doing well. So I left it alone. My goal was to make sure they just did it and got good grades. So, I mean, that's just the way I thought about it. So everybody has their own style. But, you know, I think all the problems that we have with our kids is the parents' fault. It's the parents' fault. I mean, and the guy in the video who said what he said, he's right, even if he doesn't have any children, but he's still correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just no way about it. Everything starts from the home. Now, and then we go back to the family structure. One of the things we have to do, and this is where I landed, is we got to stop telling our young people when they're in their 20s it's too early for them to get married. That's absolute fucking bullshit. We got to
Yep.
stop that. We got to stop telling them that you got to go fuck everybody in the world first and you'll become a better person because of it. That's bullshit. That's just
pure
fucking bullshit.
Hey, man.
You know,
Hey,
and you know, and it impacts the women more than it impacts the men. You know, because we want to stick our tip in, but women, it leaves residue. So, you know, so if they could find a guy when they're 23, 24, and they got a bill together, and the guy's vetted because he had to go meet her father or somebody who
yeah.
could look at him and say, yeah, this guy's a bum, you know, find somebody else. Or this guy, I like him.
You
We
know
got to
what?
get them back together early, earlier again.
Let me make it a little more palatable because we've all been in this space long
Thank
enough.
you.
I was gonna
Thank
say,
you.
we've all been in this space long enough to know that makes women cringe, that they can't
I'm
have a
not
whole
talking about, I
face.
said men too, though.
No. I'm saying all of it. Because if the women are chaste, the men ain't fucking. Like it's really no point in saying
Yeah, that's true.
one without the other. So we know telling women they can't have a whole phase makes them cringe, but there is always going to be value in preserving your virtue. And really, what's missing, because it's not even that they have to get married that young. What we're really noticing is that 20 to 30 happens very freaking fast. No, I'm still with you. I agree, but 20 to 30 happens
Yeah,
extremely
very
fast.
fast. Very fast.
It very so you have no time anyway. Because even people when they say 30 is the average age, like 30.4 for a man and 29.7 for a woman, these people are getting serious about relationships at 24 and 25, meeting the dude at that time, getting engaged at 27, and getting married at 29 or 30. So they didn't even wait until they were 30 to start taking it serious. So they were prioritizing taking relationships serious in their early 20s. And what I want women to do, especially men and women, is prioritize the courtship phase. The reason people don't do relationships well is because you don't even know how to be in one. Y'all think dating is and dating, seeing multiple people and feeling all those different energies somehow helps you. It does not. Being courted by a man with no sex, oh my God, that will give a woman such a level of maturity I won't even understand. She will know the seriousness of a man really quick. A dude that will stay around you, want to get to know you, bring you flowers, hang around your family, and you not topping him off or letting him hit, y'all will get down to the bottom of shit 10 times as fast. You will get down to
As
the
long as she ain't letting somebody else bust those cheeks, though.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be sincere. I mean, women got rotations just like men do.
So
So if
you know what?
That's right.
Let me say this. That's always the way it's happened, though, man. That's always the way it's happened, though. This is the problem today. Women can't even discern. Women don't even have discernment to say the dude that I'm having sex with on the side is not the dude I'm supposed to have a baby by. Even if you were doing that with some dude that you went to school with and you just can't let him go, the ladies in the past used to be like, look, bruh, you ain't even marriage material. I got a real sailor that's coming off the boat to marry your girl, and he got benefits, so I can't fuck with you no more. They not letting that dude go. They having his baby and expecting the sailor to pick up the slack after the fact. I want women to have discernment enough to say, I need to let my past go.
Oh, yeah.
I
Same,
need to
same
let
for the
that
guy.
ain't shit nigga go. I'm not gonna have his baby, and I'm gonna be ready when the sailor comes for me. You feel me? So I don't even think they have that discernment right now, which is really fucking up their marital prospects, if that's what they want. Didi, what do you got to say to that?
Malarkey.
I know, we know.
Total malarkey. Because ideally, people think that the person who they get pregnant by is the person they're going to have this wonderful family with.
Oh, I got it.
Ideally, when you was humping, you was thinking y'all was going to run off into the sunset and be a family. Unless you was just friends with benefits or something to that nature. But if you were dating this person, you're ideally thinking that's what you guys are leading into. You're thinking you're going to lead into the marriage and the family. And sometimes it just don't work out like that. It's
So
like,
why y'all humping it?
because people like humping. It
Raw?
feel good. Because it feel
Raw?
good. It feel good. It may not be the best decision, but it feels good.
Y'all wild for that.
Well,
Ain't no lie. She's telling the truth. I mean, you gotta. Yeah,
I mean, no, people definitely
that's
do
how
like
we
that.
got into this mess.
Exactly. I mean, to bring it all around. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get some sleep.
Hey,
Hell
Mike,
of a day
can
tomorrow.
I shout something out, man? One thing.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you
Do
like
your
to
thing.
do this, but I'll be on BMU's network tomorrow. Yeah, the topic is this young lady. She says, I'm 31 and how come I'm not married? So she's asking a question. So we're setting up like a panel to help her get through it. She's 31. She goes through her little bona fides and says, I don't understand why I'm not married yet. I want 4 or 5 kids. I want to be married. I want to be in wedlock. She don't have any children. She got money. She got education. She's got goals. She's got all this good shit. So she leaves that out. She says, I don't know why I'm not married. She even added in, I got a nice booty. So I said, okay. So we're going to try to look at it from a perspective of, if we had an opportunity to talk to a young lady to give her the answers on how she got to 31 and not be married without attribution, so that'd be a good conversation. She got a neck tattoo, she got a nose ring,
Damn.
she got dreads, but she's
Well,
pretty as
we
hell.
can stop it right there. I know why.
So
you don't gotta go past the neck tattoo.
So I'm just saying that's good. But go ahead.
She got a
It's
what?
like it's like somebody coming to you and said, I have a pain in my head, whereas they have a gush in their head. You don't need to diagnose anything. The obvious is right there.
I
No,
know, I hear
what I'm
you,
saying
but
is that
just think about it. You got to hear it in context to
no,
listening
no,
to
no.
her
But
talk.
but 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 let me say one thing, Mr.
what
Penn.
channel
That
this
would be
on?
good. I'm going to be there tomorrow.
Wait, hold on.
She a whole crip.
It's at 7 o'clock
She
Eastern.
a whole crip
BMU
wondering
Network.
why she not married. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, see, I don't want to get into it tonight. I just want to throw that out there. So come around. It's on BMU Network. Come on,
y'all check
Mr.
out-
Penn. I'll be there as long as you guys are not going to fight tomorrow, because you guys might go from advising the
I'm
girl
not
to
letting
go
you
to
fight
fight,
now.
because BMU is crazy, man. You guys
No, here's the
fight
deal.
for
Here's the
it.
deal.
All
Here's the
right,
deal.
y'all check out BMU.
Yeah,
That's
come
black
check
man
it
of
I'll
out.
be
good.
there
We need a
tomorrow.
woman's perspective too, Didi. So anyway,
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
We'll
Send
be
me
there
hey,
tomorrow. I'll
thanks,
be
Trigger
there
Mike, for
tomorrow.
letting me say that.
No doubt. Follow everybody on the individual platforms. Check out BMU show tomorrow. I'm about to check that shit. I got to see the neck tattoo for myself.
I would
now.
like to be there. I'm going to come
Yeah,
see the neck
we about to
tattoo.
end
Come
the show,
chop it
man.
up, man. Come chop it up. I want some people to come chop it up. We're gonna drop the link early. Boom, just chop it up.
Dead ass. All right,
Yeah,
y'all.
I'd love
So
to.
thank y'all
Say
for
what?
coming through to the Trigger Mike show. We about to end it.
All
And
right,
y'all
Triple
be
Mike.
good. Catch y'all
I
next
was
time.
glad you came on tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I'll try to do this more often, bro.